This video is how to show love and affection to your husband, and I think I've got a few tips that will really make a difference for you in your marriage. Hey, my friend, I want to share with you something that would make a big difference in how you and your husband connect together. You know, something I do is I want him to hear my voice. I want him to hear me talk to him and to share my affection, my love with him. You know, men, they have a lot on their plates. They have a lot of responsibilities providing and taking care of our family and our home. And one thing that I can do for him is for me to verbally express to him my love and my affection. And sometimes there was actually a time in our life, in our marriage, when we were struggling. We were going through a really difficult time in our life. You know, my husband and I were both overweight. We were both financially just having a really difficult time with our finances. We were just not living the life of our dreams at all, like not even at all. And it was kind of like at that time, our life was just kept going down in a not a good way. And I decided that together we could make a difference. And so I began to talk to him in a way that really boosted him up. Even though we were really struggling and we were really having a just difficult life, I would talk to him as if I was seeing him in the future of the man that I knew he could be, even though in that moment it wasn't actually like true, but it was what I could see him to be. I talked to him about being a great provider for our family. Now, he was a good dad. I told him that he was like the best dad on the planet, that there was no dad better than him. And that I would tell him how much I loved the way he took care of our kids and the way he touched our kids and talked to our kids and loved our kids. And I would tell him those types of things, and it made such a difference. Then I would talk about how I appreciated all the things that he did for our family, and how I appreciated how hard he worked for us, and all the things that he did for us, and how he took care of our home, even though at that time he was not really providing great for our family. And he really wasn't taking care of a lot of things in our family, but I kept telling him that story. It was absolutely amazing because it wasn't very long, and all of the things that I would tell him began to come true. And that was awesome. And I would tell him how super sexy he was. I would just give him all the passion by my words. I know that my voice, he loves to hear my voice. And so I would get really close up to his ear and I would tell him all these things in his ear, and it just made him feel good. He actually stood taller. He was much happier, and I really saw the difference. And even just me talking to him, he would actually treat my kids even just that much better. And it just really made a difference in our relationship by the way I spoke to him. I spoke to him as if he was the most amazing man that ever walked the planet, and that made a difference. Something I've found that they are so physical. They just want us to touch them all the time. And you know, it's so easy for us as women to be so busy taking care of our kids and taking care of the house and taking care of all the responsibilities that we have. But I know that when my husband gets touched by me, even if it's just like to rub his back or to rub my fingers through his hair or to tickle his back or to massage his back, it makes such a difference for him. He loves feeling that touch and that connection. Because you know, these guys, they work hard. They're out doing stuff all day long, and they're making it happen. And so by me touching him, he feels important. He feels loved. And that can make your marriage just totally connected and stronger when you can have that beautiful physical connection. So the more I touch him, the happier he gets. Here's another idea for you. There was this day that my husband decided he was going to clean our garage out, and it needed cleaning. Like, it really needed cleaning. There was so much stuff in our garage. And so I'm like, okay, you do your thing on the garage. And it wasn't part of my plan that day, so he was doing it on his own. And he's out there cleaning out the garage, and he takes everything out of our garage, and he puts it all on the driveway. And I come out there, and at first I was kind of shocked, and I was like, oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna like have our garage on the driveway for the rest of our life? Kind of scared me for a minute, but then I reeled that back in and I realized, okay, what he needs right now is a good validation moment. So I took that time and I validated him. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I love the garage. It looks so clean, and it's going to be so amazing when you put everything back in the garage. And oh, you did great putting all these things together and all the tools together and all the gardening equipment together. You did so good on getting all that stuff organized. And oh my goodness, we're going to get rid of some of this stuff. This is awesome. And I just kept validating him and telling what a great job he was doing and complimenting him, and then letting him know how I could imagine what it's going to be like in the garage when he's done. And he just stood, because I could kind of tell he was a little bit overwhelmed. I don't know about you, but if you've ever gotten into a really big project and you weren't sure exactly how it was going to turn out, when I walked out, I could see that look in his face, on his eyes. And so I knew that the way I could touch him and make a difference would be to validate him and help him to feel like he can pull it back together again. And as I did that, he stood taller and he got his confidence back, and he got right back at it, and the garage looked amazing when he was done. Now, another tip I want to give you with the same little situation here is, you know how when your husband puts up a shelf or a picture and it's crooked? You want to just say, oh my goodness, honey, this is so amazing. I love what you've done. Thank you so much for taking such good care of our family. And thank you for putting up this shelf. And you are such a man. Because you know what? Sometimes they just need to know how much you love them. No matter what the project actually looked like, they just need to know you love them. And then you validate them as a man. Hey, I am super glad that you watched this video today. My husband and I have a class called Royalty and Romance. Oh, it is amazing. It's 3 days here in Salt Lake City, Utah. I would love to have you attend our class so that you can learn so much more to support you and your husband in having the most amazing life ever in your romance and marriage. You know what? If you've got a few tips you'd like to add, go ahead and add them here to the comments.